Season 2 has commenced. Welcome to the Monday Mornings with Mitch podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Morse, and joined always by my good buddy, confidant, co-host, producer, and just general shoulder to cry on, KC Hahey. Case, how are you, big boy?
I'm good. I got a wet shoulder from season 1, but we're moving on, buddy. It's season 2. You know, we rolled with the punches in season 1. We learned some different things and went through some trials and tribulations, but season 2 is going to be jam-packed with great guests, awesome new segments, and I can't be more excited about it. And we definitely have a pretty awesome first guest for season 2, Mitch.
I'm sure you guys have heard of Ryan Fitzpatrick, 17-year NFL vet, Buffalo Bills legend, and has just been so kind to me and Casey as we've gotten into this avenue of digital media. We talk about everything from his upbringing in Arizona to his Harvard days to his broadcasting days, friends, fellowships, and the trick that we all love that pops off every once in a while, that shirt. We talk about that and many other things in an unbelievable conversation with our friend Ryan Fitzpatrick. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I've got a long list of real good reasons for all the things I've done, and regret is just a memory written on my brow, and there's nothing I can do about it now.
Well, Casey, this man probably doesn't need an introduction, but we'll give him one anyways. A 17-year NFL veteran, picked 250th overall by the Los Angeles Rams.
St. Louis Rams, guys. St. Louis.
Now Los Angeles was the St. Louis Rams. Forgive me. This is the second take of the introduction because I messed up the first one, and this guy probably doesn't need one, but I'm going to give him one anyways. 17-year NFL veteran, Ivy League champion. You can find him on Thursday Night Prime. It's on. And you can also find him on the Fitz and Wits podcast. And by Thursday Night Football is what I mean on Prime. It's on. Please welcome to the show a father of 7, friend of many, Ryan Joseph Fitzpatrick.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Buddy, we're doing great. Where does life find you right now? How are you living?
I'm in Arizona, living great. We just wrapped up our season. We had a wild card game. Did over 31 million, which is insane, on Prime, which broke some records. We had like the crazy Packers-Bears game, which was awesome. And I don't know when this is going to air, but I do have a question for you. Were you rooting for Jacksonville during the Jacksonville-Buffalo game?
All right, so here's the super diplomatic answer I'm going to give you. Of course, I had more skin in the game for one team over the other.
Okay.
That being said, and maybe you can attest to this by playing for 9 different teams, no matter how much time you play for a certain team, you still have good roots there. You still have relationships, and especially living here. Like, there was a sense of mourning regardless of who's going to win, but go Bills. So
okay, good. Yeah, nice answer. Good. Yeah.
Hopefully that answers your question. Fitzy, I know you're saying Arizona is home base for you. I want to kind of take it back. Is Gilbert, Arizona still home for you?
Yeah, so I was born in Mesa, Arizona, but grew up in Gilbert, Arizona, went to college, and we have since moved back in the last 4 years and settled after I got done playing in Gilbert, yeah.
Wow. I was looking up a little bit about Gilbert. Pretty interesting town. Was once the hay shipping capital of the world back in the early 20th century, which
You
is
better believe it.
which is banana land, and it was once. Have you ever heard of the Gilbert jail tree?
No.
So back, so I'll give you a little free game here. Back in 1918 is when they finally erected their jail, wooden jail. But before that, before arraignment, prisoners, there was just this tree they would just chain them to. And there's some real fun stories about folks trying to escaping, but I just thought that was really cool thing about Gilbert, and probably still plays a little bit of merit in just how the stuff's done.
I love that. Yeah, it's a while. Well, I'll tell you what, it's changed quite a bit, Mitch. In 1992, when I was 10 years old, the population of Gilbert, Arizona was 30,000. And now the population of Arizona, no longer the hay capital of the world, is about 250,000. So, yeah, chew on that for a minute. It's been the fastest growing city in America multiple times in the last 20 years, and is a great place to live. And there's a bunch of former athletes that are out here now. Urlacher being one of them, has some goats in his backyard, keeping with the Gilbert roots.
A lot of Major League Baseball, former Major League Baseball players from that area too.
Yeah, and a lot of them love spring training in Arizona. Let's find some roots. A lot of them end up in Scottsdale, Snobsdale as we like to call it. But us folk out here in Gilbert, there's still one dairy farm, and it's probably about a mile west of my house, and you could still smell it really, really fresh on a rainy day, which I love.
I was always surprised passing by cow farm and dairy farms, just the stank of deuce.
Oof.
Cow deuce it's tremendous, dude.
It smells like childhood to me.
Yeah, that's well. So I don't know. Hopefully, it was far enough away from, what was it, Highland High School?
Yeah,
Were you a Highland High School Hawk? Erected is the name of the game in 1992. You were a multifaceted athlete. You did basketball, track, and football. And, of course, I know you had aspirations to go to Arizona State, but you ended up at Harvard. I know you've probably given this song and dance a time or two, but please tell us, how the hell did you get up to New England?
I mean, you really did your research here. Was this just like ChatGPT, or were you like
we dig,
in the depths of the internet here?
We dig on ChatGPT.
Yeah. I hope that something comes up incorrect, and it's just we could blame ChatGPT for it. But that was all correct. Both my parents went to Arizona State. They ended up out here because they went to college there, ended up staying. And that was always, I grew up watching ASU games like during the Jake Plummer years, which, I mean, what a time to be alive. Mm-hmm. Watching Ron Roque at left tackle and Fright Night Friedman back there. And the great Pat Tillman. But I was a huge ASU fan. That's what I wanted to do. That's where I wanted to go. Chad Christensen was the local kid that they ended up giving a scholarship to. So I had to look elsewhere, but I wasn't really recruited. And that was, I kind of got lucky because that was the only reason I started opening letters from Ivy League schools, because I didn't know they had football teams. I had no idea Harvard had a football team when I started getting the letters in the mail. And once I didn't get any 1A scholarships. I got one AA scholarship from Eastern Washington. And this is before Michael Roos was there and turned the turf red. I did take a visit out to Cheney, Washington, just to see, because they were the one that offered me, and Tim Rosenbaugh was the offense coordinator, and he was a Cardinals coach for a long time. And I took a trip to Princeton, and I took a trip to Harvard, and ended up thinking that Harvard was going to be a great place for me. And it was the best decision of my life because I met my wife there.
Hey,
there you go.
Yes.
So it was pretty awesome.
Best. Well, congratulations. You're coming up on, I think, 20 years of marriage to the soccer captain, Lisa, with a Z, which I think is kick-ass, dude. No?
Liza, but yeah.
Liza.
Oh.
Yeah. You know what everybody...
ChatGPT didn't give me the inflection on that, dog.
Everybody says Lisa or Lisa, but it's
Lisa.
Liza, like Liza Minnelli.
Liza, like Liza
Lisa.
Minnelli.
Yeah.
Well, God bless her, because I know that she's had to endure yourself. And you guys got 7 kiddos, which is a beautiful thing. I want to get back to that because I think that's super unique and exceptional. Ivy League champion. Is it the Bolger Award? Is that how you pronounce it? To the best
Bolger
New
Award.
England
Sure.
player? Yeah. Well, you won it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I know you had aspirations to play in the NFL. I know it was probably, in your vision, a long shot. You're even quoted as saying that you thought it was over once you got to Harvard. But talk to us about that, getting that call.
Yeah, it really wasn't. Like, after my junior year, I didn't really play. I played a little bit my freshman year, very little. Was the backup my sophomore year, but played some more. And then became the full-time starter my junior year. So after my junior year, I started getting calls by agents. And that was the first time where I was like, what? Me? Like, do you guys have the right number? And so that was the first time where I was like, well, I might as well give this NFL thing a shot. Like, if people really do think I have a chance. And I think that part of my, I've always had a great sense of like who I am, where I fit, what my talent level is, what rooms I'm supposed to be in and not be in. And I've been a realist my whole life, so that certainly wasn't on my radar. But when people told me it should be on my radar, I decided to make that a goal. And I was at home with my family on draft day, and I think back then it was 3 days. So it was like, it's excruciatingly long for the first day people that get drafted, like 32nd, or you don't get drafted and you think you'll get drafted in the first round. But back then I swear it was 3 days, and I mean, I was fifth to the last. So you could imagine sitting there, and all I told my dad on day 3 was like, I don't want to do the party. We're not inviting people over. Like, if I don't get drafted, it'll be embarrassing. I don't know if I'm getting drafted, Dad. And so by day's end, there were like 40 people in our living room. So I'm like, have to escape to the back room. I'm on the call with Jason Garrett, who's telling me he was a quarterback at Princeton. So he had the Ivy League experience before he played with Dallas, and obviously head coach and now on Sunday Night Football. And he was with Miami at the time, and just kind of walking me through it and talking me off the ledge a little bit and telling me, as an undrafted free agent, this is going to be great. You can pick where you want to go. You should come to Miami. And I get a call from a different area code, and I click over, and it's Mike Martz. And he said, we're going to select you here with the 250th pick. They also had the 251st pick, and with that selection, they used it on a fullback, Madison Hedgecock. So Ryan Fitzpatrick and Madison Hedgecock drafted back-to-back 250 and 251 St. Louis Rams, and they never looked back from there.
That's good company. Do you bust each other's balls on why you got the call first?
No, I don't think we did. He was like I wonder what he's doing now. He's probably farming somewhere, but he did. I think he won a Super Bowl with the Giants, but he was a lot bigger than I was, so I was smart enough to know not to mess with him in that regard.
Well, your tenure in the league, 17 years, unbelievable. And then you pick up right where you left off, which was just, I mean, the face of the NFL goes from playing to Thursday Night Football on Prime. It's on. And you're friends to, I mean, you're like Kevin Bacon in regards to people I know who know you, who are friends with you. But one friendship that is hard to miss, that just seems like the chemistry's on fire, is your co-host of Fits and Wits, and of course, Thursday Night Football on Prime. It's on, which is Andrew Whitworth. It just seems like your chemistry is awesome. I know there was probably some overlap in Cincinnati when you guys were there. Just a beautiful human. And then you guys went on this road trip. And I know you've talked about it a bunch. Talked about how great it was, probably how, you guys caught up on Pretty Little Liars, or, all that, what that show was. And was it as glamorous as it seemed, or were there some?
So I loved it. I loved every second of it, and I knew that was going to be the case. I tried to convince them to let me drive the RV, and there were just some stipulations with insurance and everything else to where they weren't going to let me drive. So once I got over that, and I was a little upset they weren't going to let me at least take it for a little bit of a spin, do 2 hours on a highway somewhere in Nebraska or something. I got over that, and then I absolutely loved every second of it. Whit, I was a little concerned with, because there's multiple versions of Whit, right? I knew Whit when he was in Cincinnati. Now, growing up in Louisiana and going to LSU and Cincinnati Whit, there's a similar version there. That guy doesn't exist anymore. Now we've got L.A. Whit, the glow up, the Walter Payton Man of the Year, Super Bowl winner, big, beautiful man. He's so fit, very put together at all times. And so I didn't know which version it was going to be. If it was going to be L.A., I don't love this. This is not glamorous enough for me, or kind of go back to the roots of what Andrew Whitworth was. He also loved every second of it. So the key to it was there was 2 bathrooms. He had kind of the master in the back with his own bathroom, and I had the common space bathroom. So I think that was the big key, is we were able to be separate from the smells and those different things when we needed to be. But we slept in that RV every single night, even when we would pull into hotels, because the drivers would go sleep in hotels at night. We made a pact that we would stay in that RV every night, and we did.
That's super cool.
Now, we also had a pact early on that you weren't allowed to go number 2 on the bus. But it just, we were on that thing for like 6 days, so it happens sometimes. So we made it through. Let's just say that we made it through. We try not to go on that thing. Is, you know what? One of the things that we did, I was going to ask you this, Mitch. Were you teammates with Brad Madison at Mizzou?
I was teammates with Brad Madison. Yes, that is a
blast. Did you know that my cousin married him?
I didn't. No.
So I see Brad at least 2 or 3 times a year. He lives in Kansas City. But I was just looking, and I was like, I bet you they overlapped at Mizzou.
Oh, yeah. He had a interesting kind of, his gait's kind of interesting, but I'll tell you what, it really manifested in a pretty nasty spin move inside. The guy got some juice. Yeah, Brad Madison's a good dude. I like
there
Brad
you go. Yeah, we're sort of related.
Kevin, dude, I'm telling you, it's like Kevin Bacon. I'm telling you, it's just
there's another example of it right there.
It's another example, and one of our mutual friends, I thought deserved his flowers. Casey, why don't you put him up here real quick? We're going to take a segment to talk about this beautiful man.
Oh, one of the best dudes ever, Jeff Mazurek.
He's drinking some sort of Benjamin Button juice because he's aging backwards. It's so hard to describe Jeff. He's the grumpiest person and the kindest person and the happiest person at the same time. Do you have any Jeff Mazurek stories for us? That you'd like to share on?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, I say this for everybody listening, and I know there's millions of you listening right now.
There's not, dude.
The equipment guys know any and everything that happens in a building in the NFL. And so for me, like if I'm a new coach, let's say Harbaugh coming into New York, first thing I do is I'm going to the equipment room and I'm getting their opinions on everybody in the building, how they're treated, how they treat other people, that whole deal. So Jeff, if there's one person that has his finger on the pulse in that building, it's Jeff Mazurek. Mm-hmm. Now, there's also a lot of work to do, especially during training camp, and so he has his staff, but he's also going to hire interns and bring them in for training camp. And Jeff and I used to always we used to break in the interns, just make sure they felt comfortable. Sure. So I would hide, whether it be in a big washing machine or in a laundry basket under towels or somewhere. I would hide and scare them, usually in a jock strap or less than that. But Jeff was always the setup man, and I was always the scarer. So we had some good memories over that for sure.
Jeff, I thought what you said was about as apt as you possibly could. He has a knack of knowing people, like their souls, within minutes. Like you get a gauge on a guy. You want a gauge on a guy. He's got it. Speaking of gauges on dudes, I've never met this guy, and I don't want to kind of bring up old wounds here.
It's a wild way to phrase that.
Yeah, speaking of that is wild. And I don't want to bring up any old wounds, but we lost a pretty awesome dude this fall. And Case, you want to bring up? I thought this picture was great, kind of showing y'all's fellowship.
Oh, my guy. Yeah, we used
Mangold.
Nick Mangold. I lived in Chatham. He lived in Madison, right next to each other when we were on the Jets together. We used to take the train in to Madison Square Garden to go to some of these hockey games. But what a legend. His birthday was actually January 13th. And the reason that I remember that is because I have a daughter that was also born on January 13th, and he always made sure to reach out to tell her happy birthday. So, special guy, just so sad. With that, though, like, I don't want to say there's good that comes out of it when someone passes away, but it brought so many guys together that hadn't seen each other for a while. And so going to his service, Willie Colon was really close with him as well. And Willie put together a little night as Cigar Bar where guys could just come and tell stories and get back together and grieve together and laugh. So that was a huge positive that came out of that, was just reuniting some of those friendships. Because, like, Mitch, as you know, it gets hard. Like, you have kids, you stop playing, you live somewhere, your buddies live somewhere else. Like, it's hard to see each other. And maybe, like, you know, you putz around at a Super Bowl and you run into somebody at 2 a.m. walking down the street in San Francisco, or, you know, which actually I have a great memory of me and Nick Mangold getting absolutely dumped on with rain at a Rough and Rowdy fight. The first time I'd ever heard of the Rough and Rowdy torrential downpour. But you know, they just get fewer and far between when you're retired and you just don't see each other as often, and kids and life gets in the way. So, was nice to be able to reunite with some people over that, and all of us kind of grieve together. And the hardest part that comes out of that too is, like, he's got kids, man. He's got 4 young kids, and that part of it, like his oldest son Matthew, like, all of a sudden you have to grow up like that, you know. So it was tough to see, but I was really proud of Matthew and the way that he just presented himself and looked everybody in the eye and shook everybody's hand. And they certainly have a huge support system to lean on if they need it. But yeah, that was one of those things. You know, the more people you meet in life, unfortunately, things like this happen. And he was one of the best dudes I'd ever met, and, you know, sad occurrence. But hopefully we keep his spirit alive, you know?
Totally. Well, what a privilege to have that experience. What a privilege to have those kind of relationships. I mean, I think that's what, especially when, you know, because there's glitz and glamour around football inherently from the outside looking in, but most of it's dog shit, dude. Most of it's just, it really is. And the things that get you through that 90%, which is just a bummer, are your buddies and those intense relationships.
Yeah, and he always, you'd appreciate this, Friday was always spa day for him. So if it was a home game, he had a green robe that said Mangold 74 on the back that he put on after practice and get all pampered and massaged and get his treatments. And then if it was an away game, he had the white one that said Mangold 74 on the back. But spa day was always a big one for us that we look forward to.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss, buddy. You know, he was one of those guys that when you get into the league, of course, you look at dudes at your position. And when I got in the league in 2015, there was an embarrassment of riches at center. You had the Pouncey twins. You had Alex Mack. You had Jason Kelsey, Max Unger, and then you had Nick Mangold, who was the guy in the big city who just seemed like nothing bothered him. Everyone had his back. He was friends to all. Like, so what? Bringing that up, I just think that it was such a privilege to see him do his work. I never met the guy, but also just these past few months, the outpouring of, you know, support to his family and just having these moments, I thought is, you know, with his buddies, super cool. And Willie Cologne's the man. I've gotten to meet him a few times.
He's the best. And I just made a note. I'll tell Eric Wood you didn't include him on the centers list when you came in to the league. So
shit.
Eric Wood. Gotcha.
So ChatGPT didn't help me out with that one. And of course, Eric Wood. You know, and the thing about Eric, and I'm not doing this to pander, but the thing I just remember being like, he was the last guy with those real boat shoes. I'm like, I don't know how this dude moves. These shoes were huge, but Eric Wood.
The interesting thing about Eric, first of all, he has pro wrestler skin, so it's like constantly tan/red. Yeah. But he's obviously trimmed down now and like looks incredible. Every time I see him, you just feel awful about yourself, you know, because you're like, how is this guy that fit? But when he played at 305 or whatever he played at, like, he didn't have an ounce of fat on him. Like, he was just, his skin was so tight, he was so jacked, and like, it was one of those guys, you go under center and like, I don't know, man, I never felt that much muscle in my life. So I always like to kind of get from gun and get under center just to get an extra feel on him. But he was probably the stinkiest center I was ever with as well.
Well, there's some merit to that too. Well, I wonder if bourbon hardens the skin over time.
See, I don't know, because maybe because the Louisville stuff, but a lot of this. I mean, pre-bourbon, I think he was yoked too. Who knows?
No, he's a treat. He's a gem. I do feel absolutely horrible for not putting him in that. He's been so gracious and so kind, and always he's a giver. He's a giver.
Blame it on ChatGPT. It's fine.
Yeah, I can only do
Start
so much.
using Grok instead, or Gemini.
It's a Grok. Yeah, I got it. It's okay. So speaking, of, you know, and think about Eric, and I'm not doing this to pander, but the thing I just remember being like, he was the last guy with those real boat shoes. I'm like, I don't know how this guy that fit, but when he played at 305 or whatever he played at, like, he didn't have an ounce of fat on him. Like, he was just, his skin was so tight, he was so jacked, and like, it was one of those guys, you know, he was the last guy with those real boat shoes. I'm like, I don't know how this guy that fit. But when he played at 305 or whatever he played at, like, he didn't have an ounce of fat on him. Like, he was just, his skin was so tight, he was so jacked, and like, it was one of those guys, you know, he was the last guy with those real boat shoes. I'm like, I don't know how this guy that fit. But when he played at 305 or whatever he played at, like, he didn't have an ounce of fat on him. Like, he was just, his skin was so tight, he was so jacked, and like, on just kind of good buddies and stuff, and this you have with your friends that I talk to, you have this aura about you, have this moxie, right? The Amish rifle, and the one thing that we love to see is when you pop your top.
Yeah.
It's a privilege, and it's gotten a life of its own. So this next segment is going to be called Nips of Nostalgia. We're going to go through some of your photos. You're going to give us some tidbits on what it was like in the moment, and we'll just revisit the past here.
Here we go.
So Nips of Nostalgia. All right, so
Proud of
Case,
both of you there.
why don't you get us going with some of this?
Nips of Nostalgia.
Oh, I know that photo well. That was Jets locker room. I put on. So this is actually before the Deshaun Jackson gold chains outfit and everything. I guess I had a habit of putting on other guys' clothes. Matt Forte walked in, and he was wearing white jeans, and I think it was green shoes or green boots with those glasses and those chains. And I was like, dude, what is going on? Like, you look lovely. So I think he went to the bathroom, and I put his clothes on and just stood there shirtless because that's the way to stand there. And yeah, that's definitely what that one is. I can't say those glasses fit my face very well. That's
It looks
not
like
a
they're
look I
upside
ever
down.
went back to. Yeah, maybe. There's a chance.
A little Elton
There's a chance.
John in
As you
that.
guys are doing this segment, by the way, I'm going to crack open a cold one. I just
Yeah, that's
received
great.
these in the mail. Check this out. Brewed with snow from Orchard Park for one
Oh,
last taste
yeah.
of this Bills Mafia. The Blizzard Brew was sent to me recently, so I figured I'd go ahead and...
Well, to give you a tidbit, a few of these nips out were in Highmark Stadium. Can you give us your general thoughts on, retiring the old bird and moving across the street?
So many fond memories, and I love them. Just thinking about this and talking about it with you guys with your nips out. That is just it's fantastic. But I think a lot of them for me, yes, it was the fans, it was the experience. I've talked about some of like we beat New England and hadn't beaten New England for a very long time in the beginning of the 2011 season, and what it meant to the fans just to be on the field, what it meant to guys like Fred Jackson and Kyle Williams and guys that had been there forever that had never beat these guys. That was a really cool moment for me. But it's also just like you start to measure things in like kid years too, and like the ages that my kids were, my older ones. Having two other kids while I was in Buffalo, just the memories that we were able to create there with our neighbors, with that community is super special. So I don't think any of that goes away. And then just seeing the new stadium. I don't know if you guys have been in it, but
Yep.
Oh my God. Like
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be insane. I'm so happy that there is no roof on it. I think they did a great job. They did a great job in making sure that it still felt like Buffalo, and making sure that like the lead engineers and the lead team were not people outsourced or hired for somebody from somewhere else, but like they are Buffalonians like through and through. And so that part of it and getting the tour was really cool. Really looking forward to the new stadium. Hopefully I can afford tickets. We'll see.
Yeah, do you think there's any drawbacks in the new stadium, like from moving from one side to the other?
Well, first of all, the visual right now is crazy of just how much bigger it looks, right? Mm-hmm. How massive it is. So in general, I think it was going to look weird because of where it is. It's in the middle of a neighborhood. But I really do think, like, once people get in there, there's a ton of nostalgia, a ton of memories that will be gone. But once they get in there, I think they're really going to appreciate it. And they're really going to enjoy, like, how thoughtful the creators were and the little pieces and things. And then they're also going to enjoy the heaters, not getting crushed by the wind, those type of things. And I think the players will enjoy playing on that natural grass, too.
Oh, yeah. Dude, the natural grass thing, it has a life of its own, but it does make a difference in my opinion, even if it's a placebo effect, right? Like,
yeah,
it just has to. Speaking of heaters, why don't you put out the next nips of nostalgia for us?
By the way, did you guys know, I don't know if this is true, my wife told me that they're selling the urinals
Yeah,
Yes.
I sent it to Mitch. I sent the
Yeah.
link to Mitch, and I was like,
I
"Need
hope
to
they're not
upgrade your
sold out.
bathroom."
I got to get one for the backyard. Just the troughs. I love that. Yeah. So this is in that. I don't know if we call it the 200 level, but when you watch the game, you could see. It's like Kenny Rogers Roasters chicken from Seinfeld, like the red of those sections. And look, are there heaters above you? There sure are. Is it cold? Yeah, you better believe it's still damn cold there. But this was from the New England game. Were you on the team then, Mitch?
Was that 2021 postseason?
2021, 7 possessions, 7 touchdowns in a row.
It was a great day.
Like, probably the coolest game I've ever been to. There was, much like a lot of things in my life, there was zero intention of this before. It wasn't thought out. It was just in the moment, like, gosh, if they score again on this next drive, we're going shirts off, boys. And I think my 2 oldest boys were there at the time, and I think they were 14 and 12 at that game. And then I had some neighbors from Tampa that we brought along with us as well. So we all went shirts off. And that, I know you remember, was an insanely cold night as well. But
Totally.
really cool experience for us. And that, to be honest, that, like, the whole shirtless thing wasn't really a thing. And then once I did it then, it became a thing with Buffalo. And then it, Josh on Thursday Night Football, and the buttons start coming off, and it just took on a life of its own.
Well, that
Question
was
before we
one
get
of-
to the
Yeah, that was one of my questions. You're kind of the ringleader of the pop in the top, right? And now you have a bunch of people. You got Pat McAfee.
Yeah,
who does it now?
I don't like you guys can decide that one for yourselves. But
Yeah, that's fair. The question I had is, I assume for the wardrobes for Thursday Night Football and Prime It's On, you have to be cognizant that this shirt might be coming off, right? Is it one of those things that just like, that's how I like to dress, it's easy to take off, or is there ever a time where you're like, man, tonight I'm just not feeling the top pop?
So in Buffalo, if Buffalo wins, especially if we're in Buffalo, certainly the top is coming off, right? Mm-hmm. I tried to avoid it as much as I could this year, and it happened in Buffalo. But then a moment will pop up organically, like we're in New York, and the Giants pull off a miracle upset. I think it was the Eagles. But Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbu come to the desk. Such like youthful frat boy energy. It was unbelievable. We've dismissed them. They're getting ready to go, and Jackson Dart says, "Hey, one more thing, actually. If Scatterbu takes his shirt off, will you?" So then we ripped him off. He actually ripped his shirt because he's such a stud. Well, there you go. You guys. Gave the chest bump. And Scatterbu, being an Arizona State guy, like, he is a legend around these parts. And so I got more traction walking around my girls' soccer games from that moment than any moment in the last 4 years from Thursday Night Football, because everybody loves Cam so much. But, yeah, that was a really fun moment in the season for us. And, of course, Jackson Dart was the ringleader for that one. But what I've learned is the buttons will pop. So, like, I usually wear it goes button down all the way. If I get too aggressive with it, the buttons are popping. But then if we have show left, like, you can't get it back on, So I'm like trying to tape it, and so I found better ways to get it off less aggressively, I think is what we're going with. But I make the fans earn it, because if they don't earn it, like, if they, shirts off, what did they do, the chants, they do all that stuff, like, unless they earn it and they really want it, I'm not going to give it to them. So I think I probably gave it out about 5 times this year on our season.
In the future, for
that.
fans, how do you earn it?
I mean, the chants have to be loud. I think once I look up there and there's at least 6 or 7 dudes that are shirtless, and it's not just guys that are shirtless. There's a lot of guys that can't grow chest hair. And so there's got to be at least 4 or 5 that have some sort of lettuce showing. I went up in the stands this year during our post game, gosh, and I'm blanking on where it was, and started rubbing taco meat with some of the fans, because there were enough up there and it got loud enough to where it was time. I had to go up and give them their respects. So usually it's just, how loud are you? How into it are you? And if you really want it, you got to do it as well. So those are usually some keys to getting the shirt off.
So basically, if there was a guy in the stands, let's say, looks like that.
Whoa! Wait! Whoa! You used to shave?
No, but there's a story behind this one.
Please.
So in the off season, you get your 1 or 2 trips going down the pipe.
Yeah.
And we went to, I think, Antigua with a few of our friends, and I love this part of the chest hair. Not real fan of like the gut hair, and there's a lot of it. It just kind of. So what I thought would be super organic and cool is if I shaved from here down.
No.
And it looked insane. It looked sociopathic. So once you do that, you kind of got to go all for it. And the thing that kind of freaked me out was, first of all, how far apart my nipples were, because you don't really realize that when you have chest hair.
Yeah, there's some distance there.
There's some and how pink they were. I didn't like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I was expecting, but I hadn't seen them.
But so how did you wax? Did you nair? Did you shave? How did you?
No,
get the hair off you?
I shaved. I shaved. Yeah, I did. But I know you've waxed, and Case, there's
Definitely.
Is there something? Yeah, was that as fun as it looked?
It was so bad, so painful. The best part about this was like the punishment for whoever got last in our picks, and they decided to create the punishment like halfway through the year because I was in last. But then it was like, all right, so like if Carissa gets last, like what are we doing here? Like Tony doesn't have any chest hair. Like I know Witt and Sherm aren't going to do it, so you're basically just creating a punishment. Like I have to lose because this punishment has been created for me. And it was close in the end. But I did get last. They all took great pride. They all got to rip at least one little, whatever we're calling it. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. And after that, there were a lot of females that came up to me and they're like, yeah, you could imagine.
Yeah.
Well, the fun thing was the video, because that still photo doesn't do you justice. They kind of caught you off guard. That first one.
The first one caught me off guard for sure. I didn't know she was going to rip it. So I wanted like the Steve Carell moment, the Kelly Clarkson, and then they proceeded to rip, 7 more strips of wax off of my chest. But I decided, I put a lot of thought into it, like what name should I say? I went through, Mitch Morse. Didn't really have a great ring to it. I decided on Frosty Rucker, who was one of my teammates in Cincinnati, just to give him a shout out. And I thought it really flowed off the tongue. So I think it was actually right after that photo, they did it again. And on that rip, I gave a big Frosty Rucker right into the camera. It's a shout out to him. So.
I love you, man. Frosty Rucker! It doesn't really look like a team.
Well, Frosty Rucker can speak on it. There's thousands of other teammates you've had. You're one of one, Ryan Fitzpatrick. God bless you for coming on our show, dude. You're such a treat. You've been so candid, and us trying, I just remember me calling you on that bus, and you took the time, and you're so gracious, and that's the sentiment around everyone that knows you, and we really appreciate you coming on, helping us kick off season 2 of our show. Hopefully we can chat with you soon again, buddy. I know you're in the thick of trying to get grounded as a dad again, so thank you for coming on here. Is a real treat.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Always love coming on the show. Always happy to come on, so appreciate you guys.
All right, brother. Well, that's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And there's nothing I can do about it now.